All right. Hello and welcome to another podcast in the office of Brian Boteller, the Director of Resident Services at the Gospel Rescue Mission. Today we are going to talk about tiny houses as a potential solution for dealing with homelessness. Not just tiny houses in general. It's a big topic. They're very trendy and very attractive, and so I don't want to take away from tiny houses as some kind of a hip new movement for building cool little pieces of architecture. I think those are very cool and super hip. But tiny houses, tiny homes is a potential solution for homelessness. First of all, what is it? Well, tiny houses are an idea that is intended to be a solution for getting homeless people off the streets and out of the weather. Generally, they are an individual or small grouping of small, generally single-person dwellings, fully equipped with plumbing and electricity. And typically, they're somewhere in the 200 to 500 square feet area, and the idea is get them out of risk of exposure to the weather and provide kind of a home base. They're intended to address also the affordable housing crisis across the country. Clearly, we have issues with affordable housing, especially on the lower end and more entry-level end of housing. And so the idea is, well, if we build a bunch of little houses, then we can fit more in a piece of land, and we can get people into the rental market that could otherwise not afford to be in the rental market. And again, I think those are all really good ideas. And keep in mind that I've met lots of people who talk about these, and I have yet to meet anybody that I don't believe has genuine good intentions. So that being said, it's really important that as we discuss these things, we got to keep our snarkometer down. We've got to keep our tendency to be, a little too crass with one another sometimes on these down, because really what I think is happening, what I genuinely think is happening, is that genuinely, people who are concerned, who want to see the suffering of others minimized, I think that's what's driving the topic in by and large, and that's a good thing, and so it's important that as we discuss these things that we discuss them very freely and openly, but also considering each other's feelings in the process. I got to talk with Bill Meyer from KMED a while back on this very topic, and we actually added the show from that radio show. We added that to our YouTube channel. So if you go to the Gospel Rescue Mission's YouTube channel, grantspasmission.org, you can find it on our website, and you can go find it on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to that discussion as well. And I would encourage you to do so if you're interested in the topic. So I have a few challenges that I would say to the tiny house projects. One, it really is the NIMBY issue. It is NIMBY is the acronym Not in My Backyard in NIMBY. So if you hear somebody say NIMBY, now you know. And really what it means is that it seems that nobody wants such things in their neighborhoods. And I think that would probably be even true for people who want to come in and build a gospel rescue mission in a community. The idea that if we build something like this, it's going to be a draw for a population of people that will be poorly managed and that will bring lawlessness to the neighborhood. And I think that there's some validity to statements like that. So again, I think that we need to be at least as committed to the good citizens who are living their lives right and well as we are to those who are not good citizens and who are not interested in living their lives right and well, or maybe less than capable in that thing. So whatever solutions we come up with, they've got to be community solutions, and they've got to be community efforts, not solutions imposed upon a community. And I think that that's one of the things that makes neighborhoods fearful. When neighborhoods think that you're going to impose something on my neighborhood when I've worked really hard, pay my taxes, work 40 hours plus a week, raise my children here, and I want to leave my children the property, the things that I've worked really hard for, and I want it to be of value to them. And so, if we come in to this tiny houses project or discussion without being able to recognize and validate that concern, I think that it's going to be an uphill battle, and it would be very unfair. Another concern that I have is that we have a long history in our country of demonstrated places that where government housing solutions have been built, and we've got track records from them. We've been doing this for a long time, since the 40s and 50s. We've been building housing projects. I'm thinking of maybe the Brewster Douglas housing project in Detroit, for example. But they're all across the country in big cities everywhere, and they're already full of health and safety standards, that are far below what any of us would consider good. They're poorly managed, and they become havens for drugs and prostitution and things of that nature. So I think that those are some pretty serious concerns. I was reading an article in the LA Times in 2016 that basically said that they had some tiny houses built, and the article was basically saying where they're taking the city's taking them away because of these very things, because they have become places where lawlessness and criminal activity have just become rampant. Prostitution, shooting up, smoking up, all kinds of bad things going on in those neighborhoods. And so what's happened is the city has just gone through and yanked them from the streets. And you can say big bad city, but the city didn't put them up to begin with, and the city didn't see them as a necessary solution. So again, when they're not managed well, they just become what all housing projects become, and that's not good. And then again, it doesn't. I think one of the concerns I have also is that all the studies that I read on these things, all the studies that I've seen regarding tiny houses, really don't take into account and maybe even disregard the concerns of existing homeless support agencies with decades of experience. And in that being a gospel rescue mission, I would say we are often not considered as a necessary component. Our experience doesn't seem to have weight in the discussion, and often is disregarded. There's a Baylor University did a study that came out just this year, in February of this year, and almost across the board, every single place where they were looking at how do the faith-based organizations address homelessness, almost every single one of them said that the housing first models just essentially ignore them and do as much harm at times as they do good. They impede the solving of the problem because they see homelessness as an issue. The solution is, the problem is that they're houseless. They see homelessness as houselessness, and so if we just get them a house, then we've solved the problem. And we recognize, those of us who've been in this for a minute or two, look at it and go, no. Homelessness is a symptom. It's not the problem itself. It's a symptom of all kinds of other problems. And unless we're dealing with the all kinds of other problems, we will never, ever deal well and effectively with the homeless crisis. The Gospel Rescue Missions address things like a need for lifestyle change. And it's not just the Gospel Rescue Missions at work here. Talk to your mental health communities and people dealing with aging people with disabilities and stuff. They're just there's people with poorly developed relational skills. That cannot be undervalued in this whole topic. We've got to be willing to walk the miles with these people and teach them the necessary relationship skills that they need. And the other is social services are just so much easier to get into than they are to get out of. And here at the Gospel Rescue Mission in Grants Pass, we spend a lot of time helping people work towards the goal of becoming independent, if they can, from the social services that we actually also help them get into if they weren't already. So, you appreciate the help, but then you want to help them get free from it. And my fear with the tiny housing projects is that what we'll end up doing is just having a permanent other class of housing that is always going up and always ever expanding. And the other thing is that private Christian organizations almost always have some kind of available space. So that's something that can't also be, shouldn't be easily dismissed. We look around and we see, missions with 20, 30, 40 beds in a particular community, and we see all these people on the streets, and we say, oh, there's a problem with, not enough available space. Well, I'm sorry, there is enough available space. It's just that those people don't want to take advantage of it, refuse to bend their lives to where they would qualify to take advantage of it. And those things need to be dealt with. So a couple of questions, when you ask about how do I be kind to the homeless, I ask, well, which is more kind? Is it more kind to insist that a person change their destructive ways to help them accomplish the task that they need to, or is it more kind to insist that neighborhoods, homeowners, and hardworking citizens embrace another solution that devalues their hard work, their hard-earned property, and destabilizes their neighborhoods? I think that is an unkindness to those people who are doing the right thing. Also, I think that we can't be satisfied with making a group of people comfortable in their poverty. It's not that I want to see them uncomfortable. Poverty is by its very nature uncomfortable. I want to see them escape poverty. I don't want to see them stay comfortable in it. And to me, the tiny houses seems to be going in the other direction. It seems to want to keep people comfortable within their poverty, and that's not good. It's not a good solution in the long run, anyways. And then of course, for the last 6 years, the Gospel Rescue Mission has had no less than 20 vacant beds at any given point in time. These spaces, they're available for any individual that desires to do what it takes to leave homelessness behind. And I think unless and until we and organizations like us who've been working with the homeless in our region, we've been here for 25 years, unless and until we run out of space, I don't see how the tiny houses will do more than the large housing projects have already done. And I would say they've at least wasted a lot of government resources, and government resources are citizen resources. They're not just random resources that come from nowhere. They come from tax-paying citizens who put in a lot of hard work, time, and effort to give into their community. And in fact, it's not really a gift; it's taken. But I'm okay with taxes. I'm okay with paying for infrastructure. But I want that stuff to to go to things that really work. And so right now, my conviction is that the tiny houses projects, the way they're often approached, I haven't yet heard a solution that sounds like one that will work or will be different than what already exists. And for that, I'm against the tiny housing projects. But I would say that I have an open mind, and I'm open to be persuaded. And maybe you would like to persuade me. Feel free to write us a letter or send us a note. You can send us a message on Facebook, on our Facebook page. You can contact us through grantspassmission.org at our website, and I'd love to hear back from you. I hope that this podcast is helpful. Please feel free to give us a call anytime. 541-476-0082 is the number to the mission. And again, thank you for listening to another podcast here at the Gospel Rescue Mission.